Morning, this is Bijette.
Thank you. Monica?
I'm Monica Cooper, self-advocate, chair of the grants committee here.
Okay, thank you. And Kathy?
Hi, Kathy Lewandowski, family member, chair of the review committee, planning and review committee.
Thank you, Kathy. Safe travels. John?
Good morning, John Myers, Executive Director.
Jason?
Good morning, Research and Communication Specialist.
Great, thank you, Jason. Lonnie?
Good morning, Lonnie St. Cyr, Fiscal Manager.
Sarah?
Good morning, Sarah Ruth, Communications Director.
Michael is absent, and then Marcy Craig, I'm here. That's it, Melissa.
Okay, thank you so much. Moving on to agenda item B, let's look at the minutes. Well, for minutes review and approval, I hope you all had a chance to look at them. Does anybody have any comments or corrections before I ask for a motion to approve? Okay, hearing no comments or corrections, I'm going to ask for a motion to approve the minutes as written from December 5th, 2025 for executive committee meeting. Do I have a motion?
This is Bijette. So moved.
Thank you, Bijette. Do I have a second?
I'll second it.
Thank you, Monica. All those in favor of approval, please say aye.
Aye.
All those opposed, please say nay. Is anyone abstaining? Okay, thank you. Motion carries. Okay, agenda item C, our fiscal update with Lonnie.
Thank you, John and Melissa.
Sure.
So the council has received a total allotment of $1,500,684 for fiscal year 2024. The obligation period was through September 30th of 2025, and the council has fully obligated the funds. The council requested a no-cost extension for the project period, which now runs through September of this year. There is approximately $3,472 remaining to be liquidated by this September, so that shouldn't be an issue. The council has received a total allotment for fiscal year 2025 in the amount of $1,497,106. The obligation and project periods are through September 30th of this year. The council has fully obligated these funds, and there's approximately $737,541 remaining to be liquidated. The final report will be due January 28th of 2028. We're not anticipating a no-cost extension to be available for these funds, so kind of important that we get the work done in time by the end of September. And finally, the council has received the first allotment for fiscal year 2026 in the amount of $500,154. The obligation and project periods are through September 30th of 2027. The liquidation period is through September 30th of 2028. We've been told to expect level funding, but that is still uncertain. So that's why you see two different columns for 2026 funds. These funds will be used primarily for 2027 projects. These projects will need to be determined as part of the new 5-year state plan that we're currently working on and, beginning to start to finalize. The council is operating under a continuing resolution for fiscal year 2026 through January 30th. So basically the end of the month. If Congress doesn't pass either a full year spending bill or another short-term funding extension, we'll face another partial shutdown. That's pretty much all I have on this sheet. Any questions? Okay, so the next one is the council funded projects. I'll keep this one short. It just shows all of the current projects funded by the council. All the new and continuing projects voted on at the September meeting are reflected here, as well as the extended contract for the work on the 5-year state plan. Any questions on this sheet? And Finally, the budget recommendation, this sheet reflects the projects outlined for fiscal year 2026 work plan activities, as well as projects that may move forward as part of the new 5-year state plan. The funding year is generally the year prior to the project year. For fiscal year 25 funds that are being used primarily for 2026 work plan projects. So we're using 25 funds for what we're doing this year. The administrative budget has been increased to reflect the work to be done with the comprehensive review and analysis and the 5-year state plan development. And then finally, please keep in mind that this sheet is very fluid at the moment, as we really don't know what our 2026 funding is. It hasn't been determined yet, and we're still in the process of developing the 5-year state plan. So the goal areas are going to kind of change, and the work to be done has yet to be determined. So just know that, you know, this may change frequently until we get final votes on projects moving forward. And just for kind of an estimation, we're looking at approximately, let's say, $450,000 to be used and obligated for projects as part of the new 5-year state plan, if we get level funding, which we're anticipating. Any questions on this sheet? That's it for me.
This is, oh, sorry, go ahead.
Go ahead, Kathy.
So when you say 450,000, that's for, to meet the goal, to do the goals and objectives and activities, right? That's how much we have for our 5-year state plan. Is that what you're saying?
Well, for the first year of that 5-year state plan,
Okay.
we've identified some projects that will hopefully carry over. So that way we're not starting all new, because some of the projects were just in their first year starting in October 1. So, you know, let's see what those are doing. Those may need another year or so to continue and make progress. And then the 450 would be kind of for newly identified projects as part of the new 5-year
Okay.
plan. Does that make sense?
Yeah, that makes sense. Okay, thank you.
You're welcome.
Okay. Any other questions for Lonnie? Okay, thank you, Lonnie.
Thanks, guys.
Nice. Sorry, guys. Let's move on to agenda item D with John, Executive Director Report. Well, I take this doctor's call.
All right. Good morning. That was great. I like that ringtone, Melissa. Marcy, just a quick note before I start that I got an email from Jana. She's running a little bit late, but she is going to be joining the call, just so you're aware of that. With regard to an executive director's report, there is so much going on. Hard to know where to start, but some good news. We got our PPR submitted on December 29th, a day ahead of time, and I received confirmation this week that it was received, and so we are good to go. It will be under review by our program officer at ACL. Over the next couple of months. We don't expect to hear any feedback until probably late spring on that. If I haven't explained this before, some reorganization was done at ACL, and there is now one program officer overseeing all 56 DD councils, and so she definitely has a plate full when it comes to reviewing all of these documents and getting feedback to the individual councils. So we don't expect, and it's obviously not the only thing that she's responsible for. So we expect it'll be a while before we hear anything back. It was yet again a massive undertaking, but I have to give incredible kudos to the staff of this organization for the work they did. We put together what I think was a pretty aggressive schedule to get it done before Christmas. And we did, in fact, get it done before Christmas, and that's a credit to the work that everybody put in. We only submitted it a little bit later because we wanted to take some time to do a final review, and then we got it in a day before the deadline. So anyway, the PPR is in. We'll let you know if we hear any feedback. Just as an additional note, we still have not gotten any feedback on our fiscal year 2024 PPR, which was submitted last March. We do not expect to get any feedback on it. The general impression is that everybody who was going to get any critiques got those critiques. Otherwise, everybody is assumed to have been approved with their 24 PPR. So I guess that's good news. And we are just plowing forward into fiscal year 26. Lonnie mentioned that we got our first notice of award that runs through January 30th, which is the end of next week. And it is all, it runs in parallel with the continuing resolution, which is, I think, in the process of being resolved. We can hope it's in the process of being resolved. The big sticking points right now are the defense budget and the labor, health and human services, and education budgets. And everything else pretty much has passed through the House and the Senate. The Senate is now debating the defense budget and the labor HHS education budget. And if they can't come to some resolution on those issues by the end of next week, we will probably see another continuing resolution, or, I mean, in worst case scenario, we could see another government shutdown, which nobody really wants to see. And so there probably will be a better resolution to that, but we don't have any guarantees at this point. It is pretty clear that some recent activities have complicated things a little bit. The military action in Venezuela, other proposed military actions, and some of the ICE activities in cities around the country have gotten members of a certain party a little bit up in arms, and they are threatening to withhold funding for various things and threatening to argue about certain things. And if they don't get their way, some of them are threatening to withhold their votes for even a CR. So anyway, it's a mess, as is often the case in Washington, D.C. But we are, optimistic that something can be done. So we move forward past the 30th without another government shutdown. As I said, just about everything else has gone through Congress, and it's just those two budget bills that are still under debate. There have been some staff changes at the Administration on Disabilities. We know that Lonnie talked about our budget being somewhat fluid. It seems like everything in DC is fluid these days too. The key changes that affect us are a new administrator for the Administration on Disabilities and a new principal deputy administrator. The new administrator is Rebecca Hines. She, coincidentally, I suppose, happens to be the sister-in-law of RFK Jr. and his wife, Cheryl Hines. It's Cheryl Hines' sister. Rebecca is a former special education professor at a university in Florida. And so she does come with background in this field. There is hope that she will bring that experience to bear in good ways, affecting the disability communities around the state. Her principal deputy administrator is Diana Diaz-Harrison. Some of you may be familiar with Diana because she's the founder of Arizona Autism Charter Schools. She was hired by the Department of Education earlier in 2025, but as we all know, the Department of Education is in the process of being dismantled or dramatically altered. And so Diana has moved over to HHS, and it is assumed that her primary responsibilities will be to oversee special education and vocational rehabilitation programs, which are likely to be moved to HHS in this Department of Ed reorganization. So I don't think it's talking out of school to say that Diana has fans and she has not fans, but she certainly has built quite a presence with Arizona Autism Charter Schools, and I think the word is that she's looking to expand that model throughout more of the country, and that may be, in fact, one of her key roles at HHS. We just have to wait to see. Her appointment was just announced on January 5th, so we're less than 2 weeks into her tenure, and as well as Dr. Hines' tenure. So much more to come, I'm sure. Other programs, the USEDS, the PNA, they are affected by these changes as well. So I guess if Kelly or JJ has anything more to add on that, I certainly welcome anything you know. JJ?
Yeah, thanks, John. The only thing I'd add is Hines supposedly also has a child with a disability of cerebral palsy. So that might be a good thing. Obviously, having not only the education background in special education, but having a family member is always important. And then, yeah, that's probably all that we've heard as well from our folks, at least on the PNA side. So I just add that about Hines' background. Thanks.
Yep. Thank
This
you for
is-
that.
I don't have anything to add. Thanks, John and JJ.
Okay. And
Kelly?
to your question, Jana, sorry, her title is Principal Deputy Administrator for AOD. Apologies, Melissa, for cutting in.
No, that's okay. I was just going to state her question. I didn't know if you saw it. So Principal Deputy Administrator?
Right.
Okay, thank you.
I don't want to spend too much time on the state plan. It's going to be the primary focus of our council meeting next week, and Megan Donahue from IHD is going to give a presentation on where things stand and then present our proposed goals and objectives. But I do want to let you know that things are proceeding very, very well. We've had some lively conversations through the goals and objectives work group. The staff, for the most part, have not been part of those meetings, but we did join earlier this week to have a conversation about finalizing the goals and objectives that'll be presented to the council next week. There's still some refinement to do, and everybody understands that, but it's been a very good process. I think it's going to be very fruitful for us moving into the next 5 years. And I want to express my gratitude to all of the members of the work group, some of whom are on the call today: Melissa, Kathy, Jana, as well as some folks from outside in the community, some self-advocates, some advocates, representatives of other organizations. I think it's been great to get those perspectives. It's been great to have both a mixture of council and non-council members involved. And I'm very hopeful that what we come up with will be workable for us, will be flexible for us, will offer us a lot of opportunity to address emerging needs, as well as needs we've already identified and that we know are going to need ongoing support. So I think it's been very good, and I hope others feel the same way. We as staff will be meeting again with Megan Donahue this afternoon to do some wordsmithing, to do some final revisions and some final, as I said, refinement, I guess, before the goals and objectives are prepared to send out to the council members next week. So again, thanks to everybody, and we're looking forward to the conversation that takes place next Friday. Quick update on the access and DDD assessment and eligibility changes. There isn't a whole lot more to report right now. As we've talked about numerous times, and as some of you may know from your own personal experience, Access and DDD introduced some new eligibility criteria, or a new assessment tool last fall, October 1st. A couple of weeks later, the governor put a hold on that and asked Access to go back and do emergency rulemaking, which they did. They took public comment on a revised version of their what they call their high needs tool. Those comments, they received over 4,000 comments. Those are now under review. A number of us, JJ, Sarah, myself, and other members of the Disability Advocacy and Policy Alliance met with representatives of Access and representatives of DDD yesterday afternoon. We got as much of an update as they could provide us, which unfortunately was not a lot. They did tell us that they expect to have something in the near future that they can put back out to the public for review. They'll be doing town halls or similar events to try and educate people on what the ultimate plan is going to look like. What we do know, or what we feel pretty confident about, is that the age-related eligibility criteria that were in earlier versions will remain in the final version. There will be an opportunity for what they call exceptional care reviews. So if people disagree with their eligibility assessment, they have the opportunity to appeal that, and there will be a time-defined process for getting redetermination or, you know, getting some kind of answer on their determination. There are currently some hiccups in the process right now because CMS doesn't have a way to recognize this exceptional care review, and so some of the CMS imposed timelines on HCBS conflict a little bit with what Access is proposing, and so they're trying to work all of that out. And again, they have to go through these 4,000 comments, which apparently is many more than they typically receive. So there's still some work to do. We don't have a definitive date for when the new tool will be put into effect. I think we're all kind of assuming it's going to be March or sometime after, but I don't know that we have anything more concrete on that. Jana or Sarah, if you heard anything different or if you heard anything additional on the call yesterday, I'm sorry, JJ or Sarah, if you want to chime in, that would be great. JJ, I think this probably has some legal implications still from the DRAZ point of view too. Go ahead.
Thanks, John. No, I think John did an excellent job describing kind of what we learned and the issues that were presented by the state. I don't have any more information to add there, but I would say that from our perspective, the concern still is, I think we're going to see largely what we saw before, still a lot of age restrictions and other things that might violate a law or might violate at least maybe in its implementation or effect on certain communities. So there's still concerns from our office from a legal perspective. And even if CMS stamps it to say that it's okay, doesn't necessarily mean that it's legal in other respects or analysis, like under the Americans with Disabilities Act or other things. So we're continuing to try to work with the state and learn what they're doing, but I don't have any other information to add on specifics, but we'll be prepared if it's illegal on its face or its implementation to do something. We're working again, continue to work with the Center for Law and the Public Interest and Ann Ronan, and then the Morris Institute for Justice with Drew Schaefer and his folks. So as we learn more, but I am personally concerned. I just don't think they're going to go far enough, even with the mass turnout of 4,000 comments. And we repeatedly in meetings that John's part of ask, what of those comments do you need explanation? Do you need help? And it seems like they're deciding what's probably important for them or relevant to support their argument. Again, that's my take. So again, I think John's description of where we're at now is great. Where we are in the future is going to be hard to know, but I think one of the things DAPA and the group of us are talking about is how to communicate, how to be better prepared. Because I'm hearing, yesterday loud and clear that there are a lot of members of the community who think that these things are not going to take effect and their kids' services aren't going to be cut. And they're going to be cut to a degree, and so they should be prepared for that. So we'll work with the council and the other DAPA members and anybody else in the community to try to better prepare the community. I took that away from yesterday's meeting as well. So thanks, John.
Yeah, absolutely. We are hearing a lot of, let us get back to you on that. We have offered a number of times to be part of comment review, to be part of explanation or clarification on issues, to be part of sharing information with the community about what's likely to happen. And to date, anyway, the process from the Access and DDD side has been pretty closed. They've not invited us in to take much of a role in that, and perhaps that's appropriate. But as JJ said, there's a lot of information swirling out there, a lot of probably incorrect information. The reality is, at least as far as we see it, and from the message we got yesterday, cuts are going to take place. There are going to be cuts to services, but there's a lot of social media chatter out there that is essentially saying, don't worry, the cuts aren't going to take place. We've convinced them otherwise. And that isn't really accurate. I don't think there's any realistic way that Access and DDD can implement the changes that have been demanded of them by the legislature without making some cuts. So I hope that as a system, we are not setting ourselves up for a lot of heartache and a lot of chaos on the part of the member community, especially the pediatric member community. But it's really difficult to know exactly at this point. In any case, we will keep you informed, and as soon as something is provided to the community by the state agencies, we'll share that. You know, if it affects you personally, you'll probably be receiving it, but we'll be communicating with all of you as quickly as we know anything. The Rural Health Transformation Grants. Some of you may be aware that with the HR1 Medicaid cuts, one of the greatest concerns was the effect on rural healthcare institutions and healthcare providers. It is likely to be enormous, almost unfathomable. But the federal government came back again as part of HR1 with what they called the Rural Health Transformation Fund, which was $10 billion over 10 years, or $10 billion a year over 5 years, I'm sorry, to help shore up some of the rural health providers around the country. Every state had an opportunity to apply for these funds. A certain amount was guaranteed to every state, and then above and beyond that, it was evaluated by HHS. Arizona applied for the full 200 million that it was eligible to apply for. We ultimately got 164 million, and so that's per year over 5 years. So the state is now having to go back and resubmit a revised plan for using that money because we didn't get as much as we asked for. But within a relatively short period of time, it is believed those funds will be available to the state, and through an RFP process, there will be various types of programs available to fund healthcare providers, nonprofit organizations, even governmental agencies will be able to apply for these funds, and will be able to use them, theoretically in rural communities around the state to help make sure people don't lose care, or that the loss of care is mitigated to some degree. It's a little difficult to know right now. This was a program that was put together in a hurry. It is important to note that HHS retains a huge amount of discretion over the use of these funds. And as the state or the contractors report on how they're using them, if HHS is dissatisfied with the use of those funds, it can claw back. So even though it seems like the state has gotten a huge amount of money, or a relatively huge amount of money, it is possible that some of that money could be taken away if the federal government isn't pleased with how it's being used. So it is not quite as clear cut as it seems, and it's also important to note that the amount of money being provided through this fund is only about 50% of what healthcare professionals believe is necessary to keep rural health systems going. They think that $10 billion over 5 years it shortchanges the system by about 50% based on historical Medicaid reimbursements. So not a panacea, something, but we'll have to wait and see how it all pans out. The reason I bring this up is because one of the key challenges for people with disabilities living in rural areas is access to services and access to healthcare. It's true of a lot of other folks too, but it's maybe even more acute for the disability population. And if Medicaid reimbursed services are not available in their area, it can just make life even more difficult. They may not have the transportation or the time or the support to get to other communities to receive their care. So in any case, we will have to wait and see how it plays out, but we'll keep you updated on that as well. Very quickly, with regard to the legislature, we all know the legislature is back in session. The governor is going to introduce her budget proposal today, which is a nice document. Ultimately, it tends not to mean a whole lot because she has to negotiate with the Republican-controlled legislature, and obviously she's a Democrat. And so what we see come April or May or June may be very, very different from what she puts on paper today, but at least it gives us an idea of what her priorities are. She did address some of those in her State of the State address on Monday. I think it's only fair to say that disabilities were mentioned only once in her speech, and that was only in reference to the original intent of the ESA program. There was nothing, despite all of the turmoil of last session and all of the media coverage around funding the DD system and the lingering issues with the DD system, the disability community really got no significant or substantive mention in her speech. And I don't know what accounts for that. I think it's disappointing. And I can tell you that other members of the disability community that we've been talking with over the last few days share that feeling. But it doesn't mean that our work is done, or doesn't mean that we just pack up and go home. Obviously, we have issues to fight about. And funding for the DD service system is one of those. A couple of bills have been proposed already this year related to provider reimbursement, related to specific programs for specific populations, or related to safety and education, all, many of which affect the disability community. I'm going to be doing a legislative preview later this morning for anyone in the community who wants to be part of it. We'll talk about some of those bills. We will also talk about some of the things that are happening at the federal level and what we can expect to see in Arizona as a result of the legislation that's been proposed and is likely to be proposed as a result of the governor's budget proposal, and as a result of some of the changes that the federal government is implementing related to education and healthcare and the Affordable Care Act, a whole host of things. So if you're interested, I think there's a registration link. Sarah may have sent it out. I think Sarah just sent it out a few minutes ago, as a matter of fact. Please feel free to join us for that overview. So that's one of our upcoming events. Then we have a few more.
Sure.
We've got some presentations coming up. Yes, sorry, Kathy.
Do you mind if recording that so I could listen to it later? I don't think I can attend, but today.
Yeah.
But if you could record it, I appreciate that. Thank you.
Yeah, absolutely. And just a quick note on that. We started last year. We decided that it might have some value to do an early session overview, a mid-session kind of recap, and then an end of session recap. And so we've decided to do that again this year. We got some great feedback last year. People were really appreciative of the opportunity to learn about what is being entertained at the legislature. Of course, last year with all the talk about DD funding, we had pretty good audiences. I mean, controversy, I guess, is good. That's what the media always say. So we had good response and good attendance at these sessions. And although we certainly hope this session will not be as controversial, again, we hope that people will find it valuable to kind of learn about what's being talked about and how things proceed through the system. An interesting aspect of this particular system, as we know, the Republicans control the legislature. The Democrats have made it very clear that they are far less likely to be introducing legislation this year because they feel as though their legislation doesn't go anywhere. Their bills don't get heard in committee. And they have trouble even finding Republicans sometimes who are willing to compromise with them on certain bills. So it's going to be interesting to see. At this point, about 1,200 bills have already been introduced, and more than 2/3 of those are Republican bills. I'm not trying to be partisan here. I'm just saying that this is what the Democrats have said to the media already, that they feel it's sort of a waste of their time in many respects. Now, that hasn't stopped some of them from introducing some very important bills around education and funding and safety and so forth. But we may see that there isn't as much movement from the Democratic Party this year, and they may be focusing their energies on the election that's coming up in November. We all know it's an election year. Our entire legislature is up for election or re-election. Many members of the legislature are leaving or are likely to leave. Some of them are running for statewide office. Some of them have already announced they're not going to run for re-election. So we're going to see some changes next year, but we're kind of hopeful that because it's an election year, there won't be as much pot stirring, if you will, as there was last year. Maybe some people are really going to position themselves for whatever it is they're running for, but a lot of folks just want to get the business done, get a budget passed, and get out of Phoenix and go home and run their election or re-election campaigns. So we'll see how it goes. I mean, we can be optimistic. We hope that the lessons that were learned last year about DD funding will carry over into this year. There's obviously been a lot of advocacy continuing, and we hope that we've built some good relationships. I do want to finally mention that we had some events this week and last week at the Capitol. We called them Lunch with Legislators. Tuesday, Wednesday, and Thursday of both weeks, we hosted with our Disability Advocacy and Policy Alliance partners lunch sessions where legislators from specific districts were invited on certain days to come in, meet with their constituents. We had great attendance from the community every day. We had sort of spotty attendance from legislators. Some days it was great, some days it wasn't. But I think the positive coming out of this is, first, we established a precedent. This is something we want to continue because everybody who was there, whether legislator or constituent, felt it was valuable. And we also got some of the key legislators to come by and meet with us. John Kavanaugh, who's the Senate Majority Leader, the new Senate Majority Leader. David Farnsworth, who's the Senate Appropriations Committee Chair. Matt Gress, who is on both the House Appropriations and House Education. He's the chair of House Education. He's vice chair of House Appropriations. He came by and spent almost 2 hours talking with people on our very first day. A number of other folks who are really in key positions came by and met with constituents. It was, again, an opportunity for us to build relationships, to share our issues, and to have a conversation and educate our legislators about disability issues. So we're really pleased with how it turned out, and we will continue to do this in future years. Many thanks to Jana, to other folks from the community and other folks from the Policy Alliance who came and joined us. Really worthwhile, I think, and setting, I think, a course for the future. So I've talked way too much. I will stop there. We have other events coming up in the future, some presentations and some outreach events, which we will be sharing with folks through social media and through email. You're all on our mailing list, so you'll be getting notice about that from Sarah. Sarah had to leave because she's going to set up for the policy presentation today. But she will be in contact with more information on those events. Sorry to talk so long. Happy to answer any other questions that you have about anything that's going on.
You didn't talk too long. That was like great information today. What it always is, but today was exceptional. So thank you so much. Does anybody have any comments or questions for John? Okay.
This is Monica Cooper. This is Monica.
Hi,
I
Monica.
would like to, yeah, I'd like to say that all that legislative stuff sounds interesting, especially the luncheon, that you've had. It sounds like that you're making progress.
Thank you. I think we are. I think we are. I mean, obviously, people have talked to legislators about disability issues in the past, but what happened last year with the funding issue really kind of brought us to a place of a little more prominence, I guess. We're a little more visible to our legislators now, and we need to use that as an opportunity to build for the future and make sure that they don't forget about us.
Well, I want to add something, and I don't think it's, and when it comes to healthcare, here's something that in the future that we might want to talk to legislators about, is that when it comes, and this might, I don't know if local, statewide, or federally, but like when it comes to healthcare, if you're on Medicare and you live in a different state, let me give you a quick example. I'll try to be brief on this. My mom is in assisted living in Michigan with the Michigan Altex program, but because she wants to move out to Arizona, we can't place her because number one, I'm trying to find a place she can afford, and number two, she has to start all over to apply for Arizona long-term care. There should be something done nationally so that when someone moves like that, they don't have to start over, so to say.
I couldn't agree with you more. Monica. I think this is a challenge that you know, the disability advocates face in every state, because every state runs its Medicaid system differently. And, you know, that's because federal law is not consistent. It allows every state to do what it wants to do. So what they call portability, the ability to move from one state to another, simply doesn't exist for people who receive Medicaid services. The only thing that would change that is a change to federal Medicaid law. And although we keep pushing for that, the timing right now is not good. There are a lot of people in Congress right now who I think would like to see Medicaid done away with altogether. And so asking them to make significant changes that actually expand access to the program is not going to be a winning argument for us right now. It is
Okay, but I mean, that's just an example of something.
Yeah, no, and it's a great example. It's it's a problem with the system, and it's a problem for people who want to move, but right now there's just nothing that can be done about it.
Yeah.
It is a good point, Mike, of one of the many holes and flaws in the system. And I'm with John. I know attitude right now in DC is we're fighting for literally everything we have right now.
Yeah.
And trying not to lose anything. It's frustrating, but you are correct. That is a huge hole. So, John, thank you for all that information. It sounds like you guys had a really good luncheon, and it's wonderful to hear that you had so many legislators in positions of leadership show up and spend time. That's great. You know, that's great. I know Kavanaugh is really familiar with the disability community. I know a lot of people who worked with him closely. I did. Cynthia McCleskey has, a bunch of us. I'm sure JJ has. So good job. We'll see what happens this session. Okay, everybody. We're going to move on to agenda item E, our full council meeting agenda for January 23rd, 2026. We'll take a look. It looks really similar to today, with the exception of we will have Megan Donahue here from IHD to talk about our 2027 through 2031, our state plan development. Megan has been leading those groups for those discussions, and I've been able to make about half of them. But I really wanted perspective from other people. I feel like my viewpoint is maybe the least important of all of that, because I am one person, but they've been really productive. They've been great discussions. And yeah, I'm excited for her to present and talk about what we're looking at. And the information for that plan is from both some council members and then people outside in the community as well. Some pretty sharp people. So, okay. All right. And the rest of this is kind of the usual. Any questions? Okay. All right, John, we are done with this agenda item.
Okay. One thing I would emphasize with regard to the conversation next week is that it is intended to be a conversation around the state plan. For those who were on the work plan or on the state plan work group, you will already be familiar with the information that's sent out. But for those of you who were not, we really are looking for your input, for your insights. I mean, we hope that we will have arrived at the goals and objectives that will move us forward, but there's no imperative that what's presented to you is exactly what we adopt. So we want to get your input, we want to get your feedback, and if you have questions on how we're gonna put these items into practice, please speak up. Please let us know. I know that Megan is going to build in time for conversation as part of her presentation.
Will there be a packet sent out as it gets closer?
Yes, we will be sending that out on Tuesday of next week.
Okay, so Michael will call me when it's
Yeah,
ready.
Exactly. He'll bring over a copy to your house.
Okay, that will be good because I would like to read that before Friday.
You bet.
Thank you, Monica. I love that. I love that council members review things ahead of time. Thanks. And definitely want input, right? So, and Megan has done a really good job leading these discussions, and thank you to staff. This is so much work, but necessary if we want to continue to exist, right? Okay,
Yes.
does anybody have any announcements they would like to make?
Sorry, Melissa, I apologize. Could I throw in one last thing related to the legislature and our lunches with legislators? Vijay, since you're on the call, I did want to mention that we had a chance on the very first day to meet with Hildy Angus, who I believe is from Mojave County, maybe in fact be your senator. Don't know if you have any relationship with her. I know she's not running for re-election, but we had a really good conversation with her about education issues, special education issues, and she chairs the Senate Education Committee. Some information about transition, and we were able to share with her the work that's being done to bring a project search site to Mojave County. So if you have any contact with her, if you have any relationship with her, and you want to kind of follow up on that or reinforce the work that's being done, that would be great.
Was she responsive?
Absolutely. Absolutely.
Positive? Interesting. Okay.
Yeah. I was surprised, but it was a very, very good conversation.
Go ahead, JJ.
Great. Just a couple announcements from our office. Our African American Conference virtual conference is in February. That will be our only conference this year. So if folks are interested in attending, it would be to attend the virtual conference. It's no cost, but we strongly ask for donations, contributions, as we're trying to and will fund the conference solely with unrestricted dollars to avoid any issues. And also, Ronaldo Fowler, I know some of you have heard, some of you might not have heard, is officially retiring after 41 years. So we're doing a celebration for him, which will be at the Ability 360 Center on March 6th. That is a ticketed event, but we're hoping to get some donations and sponsors. So if you're not able to afford a ticket and would like to go, please let me know. And we do oftentimes give out extra donated tickets kind of the last day or the day before. So hope you all can attend either or both of those events. Thank you.
Is the one on March, that's in person or is that virtual?
Yeah, the one in March is in person at the Ability 360 Center. It'll be kind of 4:30, 6:30, 5 to 7, kind of just after work.
Okay.
Grab a glass of a beverage and some cheese and other little snacks and celebrate and honor Ronaldo. We have some nice guest speakers who are coming out to recognize the work that he's done in all areas, special education, voting, and then just all his advocacy over the years for the conference and everything that he's contributed over the 41 years, which is always a big number to say and celebrate. So hope you all can make it.
Yeah, I met him over 20 plus years ago and did work for him when I ran or worked with him when we had our parent group. So I'm sorry to see him go, but holy cow, did he put in his time.
Oh yeah,
Wow.
no, he deserves the retirement, and we're going to celebrate and leaving a great legacy behind him.
Thank you. I'm glad you're doing that. I'll have to see if I can get there.
Great.
Thanks, JJ. Jana.
Agreed about Ronaldo. Just wanted to say I too, Melissa, the first time I met him was probably almost 20 years ago at a Salt River Pima Maricopa Indian Community outreach event. And it was, that was the very first time I met Ronaldo. So looking forward to celebrating him. I just wanted to mention, I wanted to circle back to Vijay and to kind of just piggyback what John had mentioned about Senator Angius about her receptiveness to connecting. So Vijay, I just wanted to take a minute and say, I have her email address and I can send it over to you. And now is a good time because she definitely was interested in also issues related around early childhood and healthcare access. So again, she was really, really open. And so I just really wanted to add to that, and I can send you her email address if you'd like. That would be great. I knew Hildy back when she was on Board of Supervisors for a number of years, and it sounds like she's really become more positive. So, which is very nice to hear. Yeah, she was very open. Okay.
All right, guys. Is there anything else? Any other announcements?
This is Kelly Roberts. I just want to let you all know that our Amplifying Voices of Disability, which is a online conference, so to speak, will be February 6th. If you haven't received an email related to that event, please CC me and I'll make sure, or please email me and I'll make sure you get the information. It's for self-advocates speaking about issues that matter to them. Sorry, guys.
No problem. Okay. Thank you, Kelly. All right. Good to know. Okay. Thank you. And Kelly just put a link in the chat for that event.
That's just the date and I'll get you the,
Oh.
Yeah.
Okay. Sorry. I didn't open my chat. Yes, I do. I see that. Just the date, February 26th. Okay. Thank you so much. Okay. Are there any other announcements? Okay. Hearing none. Agenda item G, call to the public. I don't note any members of the public on here. So moving on to agenda item H, I'm going to adjourn our meeting at 9:52 a.m. Everybody, thank you so much. Thank you. Thank you. Have a good weekend, and we will see you at full council meeting.
Thank you, everyone. Bye.
Thank you.
Thank you, everyone. Have a good weekend.
Thank
Bye.
you.
Bye-bye.
Bye-bye.
See ya. Okay.
Hey, John, I didn't mean to stay on, but hey, how can IHD get involved in some of those conversations? I didn't even know they were going on, the conversations with the legislatures. Is it okay for me to ask you that right now? Oh, I lost him.
Oh, he just hopped off. I'm
I was
still
gonna,
here.
no, it's all good. I was gonna email him anyway, so I'll just talk to him directly. How are you doing?
I'm hanging in there. I'm having some pretty significant health problems, so I've been sort of in and out on all of our
What's going on?
stuff. Oh man, Kelly, I've been so sick for the last year, and in June, I don't know if you know anything about monoclonal proteins, any kind of scary stuff, but I started having some really big kidney issues. I'm a type 2 diabetic and have been really tightly controlled for years. And then had just wasn't feeling good. And my provider, my endocrinologist I was seeing, hadn't tested my urine in like 2 years. Oh, we're still being recorded too.
Oh,
Yeah.
Did you
But,
stop recording?
I can't, but that's okay. So, nope.
Just
wait a
give me
minute.
a ring, then we can.
Oh, it is. Hang on, let me see if I can turn it off. Okay. Yeah, I'll give you a call right now.
Okay, bye.
Thanks. Bye.